going on, Team IBB? It's your boys, James and Gary, and we are here with a very, very special guest. We got the one, the only, Lauren Dannemiller, the hashtag Nutritional Ninja. What's going on, Lauren?
Hey, good. Yeah, nothing. Just chopping calories.
Chopping calories.
I love it.
Awesome. So we have Lauren here for everyone watching. She and I go way back. Her and James go way back. We go way, way back.
Yeah.
But we're super excited to be here today. We got some great information for you. We have a special edition of the hashtag IBB Top 3 Trilogy. And Lauren here is going to share 3 nutritional ninja tips with all of us watching here today. So thank you so much, Lauren, for being here. If you could just share with the audience really quickly the nutritional ninja story.
Sure. So this started years ago. I actually lost about 50 pounds in a year's time. And something that I always struggled with was eating desserts. I have a sweet tooth. Actually, I blame my grandma and my mom for that. I'm pretty sure it's inherited.
Yeah.
But I had to find a way to eat sweet treats and not ruin all of my hard work. So I worked really, really hard. Losing a lot of weight is not easy.
No.
It's you're playing the long game at that point.
Yeah.
And you have to have your eye on the prize. And just eating desserts wasn't in the cards. Until I found a way to sneak nutritious ingredients into what I was making. So what I would do is I would make a delicious sweet treat, and I would replace things with beans, or I would take the sugar out and I would put pureed prunes in it, and then I would just serve it to friends or family and let them eat it and enjoy it and tell me how wonderful it was. And then say, hey, guess what?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Prunes.
You are now healthy.
Yes. I was basically forcing people to eat nutritious food.
That's
and
awesome.
It's like, I said, I just did a favor for your body.
Yeah.
Awesome. It's
That
better
is
for you if you eat this than if you don't.
I love
So, that's where it all started, and that's how a friend of mine actually said, you're like a nutritional ninja because you're like sneaking all of these healthy foods into desserts. So that's where it all came
Yes,
from.
I am.
Yes, I am.
That is
That's
awesome.
Very
Wow,
cool.
very
cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so tell me a little bit about how a prune, just because I've never heard about subbing in a prune as... I don't even know what it's a substitute for.
Prunes are really sweet. So
Okay.
actually, I tend to keep prunes in the house anyway. If you
Really?
put them, so get a jar of prunes
Okay.
at the grocery store. Get a big one because it's not going to last very long. Put it in the refrigerator, and when you're having a problem, and you're like, man, I really want to eat some chocolate. I want some cookies. Somebody's got to go out and get some ice cream or head up to East Coast Custard. That's your
hotspot?
issue. And pull out a prune. It tastes like a gummy. So when they're cold and they're in the refrigerator, they're delicious. And they've got fiber, they're good for you. Yes, there's sugar in them. It's just like eating raisins and stuff like that. They're natural, but they're nature's candy.
Nature's candy. I was just going to say that.
Candy.
Yeah.
So they're high in sugar, but
Excellent.
it's a great way to just kind of...
If you're going to eat the sugar anyway,
Right.
at least have some
Do it
benefit.
in a way that you're eating something that's not heavily processed. So a prune is just a dried plum. It's not. That's all it is.
I feel like I'm pretty sure I knew that.
Yeah, but I'm not 100%. Now I am.
It's just the only process that's happened to it is that it's been dried.
That's cool.
And what you can do is you can throw them in a blender and you can completely obliterate them and use them in a recipe as sugar.
I like it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Very
See?
cool.
Tip number 1, use prunes as sugar.
Prunes are
Awesome.
delicious.
Yeah.
And nutritious. Yes.
They
Okay.
are.
Delicious and
Delicious and
nutritious.
nutritious.
Very cool.
That's my tagline.
That is awesome. All right.
Delicious and nutritious.
So, James, if you wouldn't mind just telling the audience here, maybe some of them are just tuning in for the very first time, but what is the hashtag IBB Top 3 all about?
Well, it's about basically people's top 3 keys to success. And whatever, niche you found, whatever success track you've taken. I think like obviously nutrition is
Nutritional success. over
nutritional success is where you thrive and where I suck. I'm terrible. So,
We can fix that.
but yeah,
there.
so
We're going to.
so that's where I think that we should dive right into the top 3 keys to success.
Absolutely.
As to what is your nutritional success advice that you could give everyone tuning in, and
Yeah.
go from there.
So since we're doing Nutritional Ninja, I'm going to say my first key to success is to be creative and experiment. Life's one big experiment. You
Yes.
know, we try, we fail. We try, we fail. But you can't give up. So keep experimenting. Be creative. Try things that are going to work with you. But you know, be intuitive. There's a big movement to intuitive eating, and doing
Okay.
things that you know. So we know what healthy is. We know that when you eat your vegetables and when you cut out fats, and you know there are healthy fats, but to an extent, you know you don't want to eat a whole stick of butter. You know, a little
Yeah.
little bit isn't bad, but when you combine that with sugar and this and
Right.
that, and you make it into something, and there's just loads of it in there, it's not healthy anymore. So being intuitive, but be creative. You know, if you have a recipe, my family, we love chicken paprikash. It's something that we've eaten for years.
Fantastic.
Okay.
You can use Greek yogurt instead of sour cream.
Mm-hmm.
You can
I've
add.
done that, but I use way too much yogurt then.
You can
But
use too much yogurt, but when it comes down to it, you know, you're using something that is benefiting you.
Mhm.
The
Okay.
sour cream really isn't giving your body anything to
Anything.
use.
All right.
There's no protein. Well, there might be a little bit of protein in there, but it's dairy, but it's also got a lot of fat in there.
Yeah.
So if you're using Greek yogurt, sure, there's some fat in there, but it's also got protein. It's got iodine in it. It's got all kinds of good stuff. Vitamin A, calcium. It's got a lot of really great nutrients in it. Probiotics, all of those things that are
Okay.
going to give you something that sour cream isn't. So it's about like replacing foods that you like and eat with things that have more nutrition in them. So take
Gotcha.
out and add in, but when you're adding it back, it better be awesome. So
Yeah.
replace it with something that's really good.
Awesome. Okay.
So be creative. Try things out. Experiment. When you're at home making dinner, try not using oil. When you're frying up some food, try to. I use water, and I get the pan really, really hot.
Okay.
And it's this technique. It's like steam something. I don't know. I wish I could give you the actual term for it because I tell you to Google it. But we use that to cut out the oil when we're sautéing our veggies and stuff.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. I need to
Yeah.
Google that. That's
Yeah.
that's awesome. So I love the part about the prune. Like I'm learning right here, right now. So instead of sugar, we have a prune.
So
in
sour cream, you got Greek yogurt.
Greek
Oh, yeah.
yogurt.
Instead of
Yeah.
oil,
We
you got water.
got water, which is crazy but
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
So like there's just so many different little things that you can always do and try. Like where has been your most fun experiment?
So if you know me, you know this. I eat a lot of beans. My diet typically consists of beans and vegetables.
Okay.
That's pretty much it. If it grows from the ground, that's what I'm eating.
Yeah.
I love to use chickpeas. Chickpeas and peanut butter is my favorite combination. You can bake it. You can not bake it. It could be a raw dessert. It's one of my favorite combinations. Chickpeas can be used to replace all kinds of stuff. Another one is sweet potatoes.
Sweet potatoes are awesome.
Sweet potatoes are awesome. They have vitamin A, vitamin C, B6. They've got all kinds of great stuff in them, potassium, you name it. Plus, they're sweet. So if you're using it in a dessert, if you're baking with it, you can actually cut down on some of the sugar you're using because you're replacing butter, let's say, with sweet potato. Now, it is going to change the flavor profile of what you're baking, but if you're like me, I like the pumpkin spice thing that happens in like September, November.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that all year round.
Yeah.
I really like that. So for me, it's a non-issue. But I also make cookies with sweet potato and stuff.
Okay.
I mean, you can use sweet potato for so much. You can replace butter.
And I've had her cupcakes before, and
Yeah, that was
Lauren did a great job for
Yeah.
my baby shower, and I remember you saying about how you're like, I always use fresh ingredients, and just the amount of people that has smiles on their faces. They're like, where are these from? I'm like, they're from my friend Lauren.
Yes.
She did such a great job, and yeah, definitely. She is a nutritional ninja. Like, you're helping me and my family be healthy without us even really knowing it. You know what I mean? So that's pretty cool. Yeah. That's really cool. What were you gonna say, James?
I was gonna say on the being creative side. So like for me, speed is everything. Like just so I view eating as an inconvenience because I could be getting something done.
Yes.
However, that is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And then also too, I started a new rule. I don't eat after 8 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe that's even too late because that's the thing is I get home. I don't really have that much to eat, but I binge and I get home and I promise myself every time I'm not going to. So for me to get creative and to be innovative with my what are some tips you would have for people that are like on the go?
On the go, that's
or don't want to stop. So
we're all.
Should I just shut up
like
and stop?
That.
Yeah.
So see, that's where the hard work comes in. I was doing that for ages. I was going home and I was just eating a ton of food, and and that was that. And maybe I would even have a snack later. But I would hold off all day long because you only have what's available to you when you're at work.
Right.
So if you only take certain foods with you when you're at work, that's what you're going to eat. That's what you have. And then by the time you get home, you're like, oh my gosh, I just want to eat everything that I have. And you do.
Yeah.
And you know what? Mistakes are okay. We make mistakes at work. You probably make mistakes at work. I'm just saying, I know you two are pretty good, but we all make mistakes. We make mistakes in our relationships. We make mistakes at work.
In life.
So why are we not allowed to make mistakes when we are talking about our diet and our nutrition?
Yeah, I feel
we're allowed to make mistakes. But when it comes down to it, like when you're on the go, we meal prep. Well, you know what? We don't exactly meal prep in a way that is typical nowadays. People think meal prep and they're thinking, oh my goodness.
It's my whole Sunday.
It's the entire Sunday. What we do is, we go grocery shopping, and when we get the groceries home, we wash the vegetables and put them in the fridge. So that step is at least done.
Yeah.
So everything is in the fridge, it's clean. And then the next step might be taking, a half hour and cutting up the vegetables. And then we put them back in the refrigerator. They're all cut up.
Yeah.
And that's that. So when it's time to actually make a good meal, because we have an infant at home, Eric works, I work, and finding time to make dinner is really difficult sometimes. But when everything is at least partially done, and all you have to do is cook it and combine it and figure out where to go from there, it's a lot easier.
Yeah, so the prep work is where all the time is necessarily versus actually just cooking and serving.
Yeah, we don't have time to do full-on meal prep. We just don't. I also don't I'm not a big fan of prepared shakes and meal replacers and stuff like that. I like to eat good whole foods. So my refrigerator is typically just a lot of vegetables, fresh vegetables, and some fresh vegetables. So that's really what we have available. And I mean, sure, there's tortilla chips in the pantry, but Eric has a tortilla chip problem. I'm okay with that.
It's okay, Eric.
It's all right.
Totally.
I will share that problem with you.
We'll get mistakes, right?
I'll bring the salsa.
I love it.
How many kinds of salsa? Okay, that is something else we have in the fridge. How many kinds of salsa, and then how many different kinds of tortilla chips are in the house at one time? But it's all about eating good fresh food and having it available to you, and not stocking your fridge and your pantry with things that you don't want to eat. If you're gonna say, I don't want to eat this, don't eat it. Don't buy it, and don't have it in the house. Because I can commit to being on a diet. I can't commit to not eating the things that are in my house. And if it's in my house, I'm gonna eat it.
Right.
So I'm even talking about those chocolate chips. I will eat a handful of chocolate chips. I have no shame. So if I have chocolate chips in the house, I will eat them.
So let's just have prunes instead, right?
Prunes in the refrigerator. So on the go, make sure you have things that you can eat. Spend a little bit of time here and there, little chip away at it.
Yeah, so not only are you the nutritional ninja sneaking in the right ingredients, but you're also hacking and slashing time.
Slicing dice.
Hacking and slashing time. Slicing and dicing. Yes, way better. Way better.
Yes.
So, yeah, so like I love that. Washing your vegetables before they go into the fridge, not just right as soon as we get them home from the grocery store.
And do them all at one time.
Yeah.
Just get it done with.
Do
it all at once.
Chop
and then
them
leave them sit there. They can dry. And then an hour later, go do whatever you got to do.
Yeah.
Hour later, pick them up, put them back in the fridge.
Yeah, like for me, I like cooking.
Me too.
I love cooking for my house. I love preparing our meals, but it's hard for me to get started because I'm like, oh, I gotta chop some onions, I gotta chop some peppers, and I'm like, oh man, that's like a whole thing. Yeah. So by doing that up front, or even just a few of them, not all of them, right? Yeah, right. Like 3 onions, you know, that's probably gonna take me to like Wednesday or something like that. You know, I don't know.
Absolutely.
So that I love that, just kind of chopping away. I love it.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean we have a hard time with time. I mean, I don't know what happens to time anymore. I mean, it's just gone.
Yeah.
So eating out is another option. You can eat out and stay healthy. I mean, when I was losing weight and I was going through, because maintaining is a lot easier than losing. That's really where it comes in. When you're talking about the long game and losing weight, that is something that you really have to commit to and really look at, what do I want my results to be? However, if you're just trying to maintain and be nutritious and healthy, it's a lot. It's easy to do that still and eat out. You know, if we live right down the street from Hooley House, so that's an easy place for us to go.
Right.
I can go there and I can get a grilled veggie wrap. I get it without the cheese, no sauce, and
I love
sometimes I'll even take the wrap. Like, I'll take half of it off, and I'll stuff all of the veggies into the one side. And it's plenty. So, but I also, they have these potato chips there. I love potato chips. Like,
I have a chip problem, too. So
love potato chips. So, if I want to eat the potato chips, I've got to cut back on another thing, and it's going to be that. Cheeseburgers are my all-time favorite food. I love cheeseburgers. I eat them maybe 3 times a year. I probably have maybe.
Some hardcore discipline.
It is, because I don't want to have to work twice as hard that day and then the following day, because I can't burn that many calories in one day. I just don't have time for it.
You reward yourself with the cheeseburger, right?
You can. That's exactly what I do.
One of our good friends, Dave Godek, shout out to him. I never forget him making the comment to me. This was when we were doing like the kids show for like Kids Biz. And I asked him, like, hey man, you want something to eat from we're at the event at the mall, and you want something from the food court? And he's like, no man, he's like I'd rather not have to work out later. Like, just kind of like the whole concept of, I feel like for me that's been a big misstep, being a former college athlete, running 100 miles a week. You know, like I used to be able to eat what I wanted, because I would just go work it off, if that makes sense. But now it's like I'm lying to myself. I'm like, if I'm going to go to the gym or go run a 10-mile run, or like in my mind, I'd like to. But do you find like that if people just focused on the food and said, hey, if you exercise, cool, but you don't have to exercise for days if you eat right in a 1 hour to do the right thing.
Yeah, you're not playing catch up in the end, you know, and that's why I really like starting my day off with a workout. So working out in the morning actually tends to help me make better choices throughout the day.
Yes.
And then sometimes if I don't work out in the morning and I'm working out at night, it's also like, oh no, am I going to be able to get to work out today? I better not eat this. I better not have that, because I don't know what's going to happen tonight. Yeah. So when you get home and you have an infant at home, you just don't know what's going to happen.
No.
You have no idea.
No.
So
it's just
you have no clue.
Let's forget about it.
It's all up in the air.
Cool.
Love it.
Awesome. So we got be creative, and then another thing that I've taken away so far is a ninja is always prepared. Yes. And so that's where get creative with
keep your throwing stars in your pocket.
Yeah, keep your throwing star. Yeah, keep your be ready at all times.